Hey there. Thank you for your interest in considering a career with Synscribe. In this short video, I'm just covering 5 quick questions on what does Synscribe do, what is it in for you when you work with us, who you work with, or what is the culture like and what makes you successful in this place, as well as finally, how to join us if you are interested. So let's get started with what does Synscribe do? So we are a young startup in the SEO, that's search engine optimization, and AI search optimization space. That's basically, to sum it up, is how do we help companies appear on ChatGPT as well as Google. And we primarily serve B2B SaaS companies that are in the growth stage that has already got their products out in the market and is growing quite rapidly. And basically, we help them get more leads and customers through organic means, like via ChatGPT, via Google search, right? And what we do is we apply scalable playbooks and customized solutions to help them achieve their goals. And we are using different kinds of levers like blogging, landing page creation, link building, but we do these at a scale that no other agencies are able to do so. At the end of the day, we are trying to productize our services. So we use a lot of our own products within the company itself. At its core, we are a technology company, but what we appear in front of other people is like an SEO agency, right? So if you want to take a look at, how some of our technology and process work, there are some YouTube videos that you can probably find around this video as well on how some of this thing works. And that will show you like the kind of like technology or processes that we work with. And by the time you join us, probably it's already outdated. And that's the kind of like speed that we move at. So let's move into maybe like what is it in for you when you join us as a career. So the first thing is that besides working with me, you are working with a lot of the founders and growth leaders in various different companies that we work with. And these are all high growing SaaS startups. And that means you get to be part of the strategy and you get to be part of a space where the work that you do has tremendous impact on not just our own company's trajectory, but also the customers or clients that we serve, right? Because they rely a lot on us in getting their organic strategy correct. The next thing is that you will be at the frontier of technology, right? And AI is actually core to our technology stack, and we use it a lot to get rid of the busy work. And we don't mean it by you get access to Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT. We mean it by we actually build the AI processes, we fine-tune the prompt, we build in evaluation framework, we try to find ways that human and AI can actually work side by side, or so-called human in the loop process, to make that all happen. And we continue to refine on that so that we can speed things up and get more things done with less human supervision. So we live the technology, not just like we are interested in trying those things out. No, we live it, and we actually show people how to incorporate some of this process within organizations as well. Besides that, you actually get to experiment and get access to a huge trove of learning material. Because we are at the frontier of technology, that also means that we need to continuously keep up with what's the latest meta, what's the latest tool and technology, how do people set things up and run things at scale in a safe manner. So we continuously also run experiments to test different kind of hypotheses, and this hypothesis can be, say, on the technology frontier, or can be in the domain, which is in SEO and AI search space. Right. So we try different things and play around with different tools and services just to see what's the best way to do things for us and for the companies that we serve. Right. And for that, we also buy tools and courses so that we are ahead of everyone. You get access to all of this when you join us. And the last thing is that, we completely transform ourselves every 1 to 2 months, right? Whatever that you think we were working on or, we were getting busy with, right? In 1 to 2 months' time, that thing should have already been automated, and that's how fast we move, right? So if you are really excited in a fast-moving organizations where you can really, ditch the busy work every, and move on to more high leverage work every month or so, right? This is definitely a place that you want to be at. Speaking of which, right? So who would you work with? You'll be primarily working with myself, right? I'm a software engineer turned marketer. I started my career in the government, in a huge organization, building a huge monolithic application. I went on to startup as a CTO and, realized that I wanted to have more control on the growth and wanted to learn more about how to grow an explosive startup. And therefore, here am I, right? There's also one or two other staff members who are absolutely talented when they that are within the company. And so by the time you actually join us or you set up interview with us, that could have changed because we are also aggressively hiring right now. And that said, while we are aggressively hiring, we are holding everyone to like the highest standard, right? So, we don't lower our bar just because, there's more work to be done. So that also means that the people you work with are of the highest caliber here. In terms of like working arrangement, we work remotely, but occasionally meet up at co-working space. But that can also change quickly, right? Because we are trying to tighten some of the feedback loop over here. That brings me to culture, right? So we are working in a very fast-paced environment with a very tight feedback loop in terms of learning, right? We want to incorporate learning, and new information into our processes and the things that we deliver as soon as we have validated them, right? And that actually brings us to the next part of how we learn, or what is our proof of the word, right? The way we see it is that we value experiments and experiment outcome far more than opinion, right? That means to say, I'm happy to be proven wrong or to be disagreed. So we run various different experiments across different functions to test various different hypotheses that we have of either the business, our clients' business, the way things work, and so on and so forth, right? And we use those things to come up with concrete processes that we can automate later to do the right thing at scale, right? To do that, we run many experiments, so you get to try that too. And on that note, we also so all those experiments turns into automation at the end of the day, and that's also because we want to bring people, like the real resource that we really have, that set us apart from everyone else. We move people from the busy work away from the busy work to high leverage, work, right? And we do that by automation. So just some traits that I'm looking for when hiring new people. The first one is excellent work ethics. There's many things to be said about work ethics. That means, having ownership over the work, knowing that you can deliver high quality work, not dropping the ball, right? And being on top of things. Another one that is non-negotiable is actually high level of integrity, right? Because we have access to a lot of information, a lot of resources and whatnot. We just need people to have high level of integrity to not misuse some of these things or put each other in jeopardized positions. Now, we also want fast learner, people who can not only learn things fast, but rather can unlearn and relearn things that they thought were true, but no longer useful, in this day and age. And finally, the last quality is having able to exhibit care. You care about your work, you care about your colleagues, you care about the customers that we work with, and you care about the company. In terms of like how AI forward, like I mentioned, we make use of AI a lot, but there is a primary difference between using AI to empower and leverage and automate as to use AI as a crutch. And we do see a lot of people using AI as a crutch, and that is the opposite of what we want with people over here. We don't want people to outsource thinking to AI, but rather use AI to automate some of the things that people are already doing great at, right? So, and that would be tested in our process, right? So that brings me to the process. If this is something that excites you, you think that this is interesting, perhaps you might even want to check out some of our videos online, how we actually work through the work we do, what kind of work we do, and what kind of technology we deal with, right? Then you might think, okay, how do we actually get on board and how do we test for it? So that brings us to the application process. First up, as much as possible, I'll try to list all the open roles on the career page, but ultimately we are very small setup. Make up your own, right? Job title doesn't fly here because everyone is just doing almost everything at this point in stage. We are a really young startup, right? If you want to stick to your title and you want to do only things inside your JD, You probably shouldn't even look at any startups that is less than 6 to 8 people, right? We are in that stage right now. That means you get work from all direction. You get to play around with a lot of things, right? And you get the highest impact on the trajectory of our company as well as the companies that we work with. If that's not for you, right, then if having this kind of ability to move across different functions doesn't work out for you, then you shouldn't apply. When you have now, we will have a application form. And the application process over here is actually quite non-standard. Basically, it tries to front load a lot of things in front, and your resume actually wouldn't even matter, or your education, what university you graduate from, wouldn't even matter, right? And you will learn to see why. The application process actually tests you for the traits that I've mentioned above, and it minimizes the number of steps to let us make decisions really fast. So typically that means after the application process, there's maximum of 1 or 2 calls after before we extend an offer to you, right, as you make it through. Now, I'd like to close off this call with some tips on how to succeed, right? Here's the stats, right? Most people are going to look at our application process and go like, yeah, this is rough, and I'm going to give up, right? Probably 1 in 20 would complete it, right? Those who complete it, more than half of them actually outsource the thinking, right, to an AI. And the thing is, we've worked with AI so much that we can smell when there is zero thoughts into it, or basically, it's just a very surface level thinking. And it will either review itself in the first submission or in the first call itself. And basically, that shows us that you can't think without an AI, and it's you won't kind of succeed in here as well. The next thing, last tip over here is that the assignment that you see is likely going to be out of your depth, right? You'll be like, I'm being tested for this, but I don't have experience in this. And that is the intention of the assignment. We are actually testing your critical thinking and your learnability over here. We know that everyone would come in with almost no information on this, right? And that's actually the part of the test, which is to see if you can learn quickly and, some of the things that is enough for you to do valuable work, right? Or are you going to sit there and try to learn everything or just give up, right? Anyway, the assignment has been proven to quickly filter people out that are not exhibiting some of these traits here, right? So if this is something that you are excited about, you can see yourself being excited working with me and the rest of the talented people and the technologies that we deal with, then make sure that you put a lot of effort into this, because I can tell you it's going to be worth it. Most people are just either going to give up or just give some AI slop that would be rejected immediately. For those of you who pass the initial filter, you'll definitely receive a response from me directly. So yeah, this is how the company is like, the kind of things that you expect when you kind of work in this company, as well as how to succeed in the application, right? If this makes you excited, I'll see you at the application